Hi, and welcome to Reverse Garbage Queensland and RGQ TV. This episode, we are going to be making robots. And as we always do at Reverse Garbage Queensland, we're making it from creative reuse materials. So these are materials that may have ended up in landfill, in the bin, became completely useless, but we thought they were way too much fun. And what's more is they're really cost effective and you might be able to find them just around your house. So for my robots today, you can see down the front, they might be made of things like cups, cardboard tubes, maybe something that you recognize from a can collection, lids like this, and maybe some interesting other materials that are very special we'll talk about in a minute. So let's have a look at some of my robots. Okay, so we've got this little chap here with its blue body and its yellow head and feet. It's got some really interesting things on the side for arms and maybe some interesting things. This particular robot has hair that we can move around and a little face, some buttons. Robots usually have buttons. This robot here looks a little bit different. So can you recognize the material used for the robot's head? Yeah, like from a Slurpee container. So this robot has 2 eyes as well, but it has 4 feet because robots don't have to have 2 legs and 2 arms the way us humans do. It's got 4 little feet that are actually straws and little dial here, 1 to 5. Maybe it's a very speedy robot. And Steve, this is my favorite robot. Steve here looks a bit like us. He's a humanoid robot. He has a body and legs. He's got these lovely blocky foamy feet and 2 arms. Maybe you recognize this material. And a little head made out of a lid and some really fun buttons to press. And we've used a little file piece to make his name tag. And his name is Steve. What other robots do we have? So this robot here maybe looks a little bit like a Dalek from Doctor Who. It's made with a paper cup and a plastic cup. So it doesn't have feet, so it might roll along the ground or it might float perhaps. But like the other robots, it has a head and some buttons. This one has a little jetpack on the back. And this one you can see inside its brain. Oh, creepy. This robot here, I think her name's Rosie actually. She's got some really interesting pieces on her. Maybe you recognize this one. Maybe you recognize this one. So you can use really whatever you like on your robot. Just think about what a robot might have. It might have buttons, it might have latches, it might have a switch to turn it on and off. So think about all the things you would like to add to your robot. Okay, so let's talk about some tools. Okay, so for your making today, you probably need to grab some tools. And I'll just take you through the tools that I have in my kit, but you can do with some of them, but you can probably just do without with some of them as well. To start with, I have a cutting surface. So I've got something that's going to protect the table or the surface that I'm working on so that we don't damage the furniture. I've got something you recognize, so scissors. Were very, very useful for the workshop that you're doing today. And a Stanley knife or a box cutter. Now this is really sharp, so you need to talk to an adult about using it. If you have one, they might do the cutting for you, but it could be quite useful. The other thing you might recognize is a stapler, of course. It's really good for fabric and for cardboard, but not so good for hard plastic things, which you'll probably be using today. I've got my trusty awl, which is a very pointy, interesting tool. Very good for poking holes and not hurting yourself. You can use it on the surface. I've got some wire cutters and wire manipulators. Now we are going to probably use wire in our workshop today, so these would be really handy, but not essential if you don't have them. Now, finally, when we're joining things, I've also got my ruler, which you may or may not use. For our joining together, you could use sticky tape if you're at home and you can't find other things to use. But at Reverse Garbage, we use our sticky materials, the sticky back plastic and the sticky back foam. And both of these things are offcuts and leftover pieces from sign writing and from gasket making. So the sticky stickers usually come in a sheet like this, and we just cut it up into small pieces. And it's the same with the foam. The other thing I have really handy is my rubbish bin. Very good to keep it on your surface so you're keeping your space nice and clean. Okay, for your robot, you're going to need to think about how you're going to join things together. Now, I've already talked about the sticky materials, and sticky tape is a really great way to do it, but it's not the strongest way. So the other things you can use are hot glue if you have it. Remember to be really careful and have a parent around when you're doing it, or maybe using wire. Okay, this is a silver piece of wire. It's really easy to bend. You might be able to find it outside in the garden or ask a parent if you can track some down. But the other place to find wire, and again, you need to speak to a parent to find out how to get hold of this, but these are leftover cords from an electronic device. Now, you can't just go and get any one. You need to talk to a parent about finding where the right one is, but we do throw away a lot of these things in our world. So inside each electrical cord, if you cut the end off, you can see that it's got different wires inside. And if you take off the outer plastic, you can see that it has these great colored wires, really easy to twist into different shapes and very, very useful for your robots. So maybe try and track some of that down. It's pretty special material. Yeah. Okay, now these are some other really special materials you might like to use. Now, some of these things might be a little bit tricky to track down in your house, but we do sell them at Reverse Garbage Queensland. So next time you pop in, you can grab a bag of these interesting things, and then you can use it to make your robots at home. So I talked about the wire. This is some other wire that I've collected. Look at the great colors in that stuff. Awesome. You might want to use metallic things because robots usually have the idea that they might be a metallic type object. So some metallic things you might find at home are some bottle caps. They make some really good noise as well. These are the interesting things that I'd like to show you. So this is a part from inside of a computer, and they make really good little panels for your robots. Or other little electrical components, you can see that we sell a little bag like this for $2.50. And look at those awesome things that you can glue and stick and manipulate onto your robot. Maybe even some CDs. They're really nice and shiny, bit sort of metallic. You might want to add one to the back or to the head of your robot to make him look a bit sort of out of this world. But you could also use things like little computer keys or lids, just things that add a little bit of detail, maybe make some buttons out of some lids for your robot as well, and add all those little things to make your robot really come to life. So awesome. Well done on making your robot today. I hope you find a job for it to do around the house. Maybe make it another little robot friend. And last of all, please send us a photo of your robot so we can share it with all the other people that participated. Now stay tuned to RGQ TV for other workshops, or get in touch on social media on Instagram or Facebook, Reverse Garbage Queensland. Thanks. Bye.